In this activity, the students will make a bouncy ball, investigating the concepts of mixing materials, changing materials, mixing different materials to make a new kind of material with different properties. They're going to have a crystalline solid on their tables, which you will need to go around and snip with scissors the corner off. Each student will be getting one of these, and each student will be making a bouncy ball. And they will need a cup of water, some detergent, and the mould for the ball. And you could discuss how scientists make different things and how they can change things from liquid to solid, and they can mould things into shape, and talk about any object. How did they make the scissors into that shape? They would have had to get liquid plastic and pour it into a container that had that shape so it could set and dry. So it made that. The same even with the metal. That would have been made as liquid metal and then set into the shape of the scissors. And we're going to do a similar thing in this experiment. And then they'll go to the table and do the experiment. When the students get to the table, they will have 1 cup of water between 2 students, so there'll be 2 cups of water on the table, 1 per pair. And the first thing they'll need to do is, as somebody did in the last activity, put 1 drop of detergent into the cup of water and put the lid back on. And then each student will get their mould, and they just need to shut it and get it to click. They need to hear that click to make sure it's shut. Okay, and then they're going to pour the solid crystal powder carefully into the hole, and tap it as they do it to get the whole lot in there. So the whole lot will fit in there, the whole sachet of powder. And remember, each student will be doing this one individually. And if they tap it down, they can get all the powder in there. And then once they've got all the powder in there, they will lower that into the water, and their partner could do the same. So we could get 2 in each cup, and the other people on the table could be doing theirs in another cup of water, and they will leave that for 1 minute, and you'll if you've got any time, you can be asking them what they predict's going to happen when they take it out of the water, what might be changing in there when the detergent, soapy water is mixing with the solid through the holes that are in the mould. And then after a minute, they're going to take it out and leave it on the table for another 3 minutes. And so after a minute, you're going to instruct them to carefully, without spilling the water, holding the cup with one hand while they reach in with the other hand to get it, and of course taking it in turns, not both of them going at once. Take it out, and they can both leave their mould on the table for another 3 minutes while you bring them to the floor and have a little bit of discussion about what they predict's going to happen next. While you're waiting for the mould to sit on the table for 3 minutes, you could be discussing what they predict it'll be like when they go back and open up the mould now. Will it be solid? Will it be liquid? Will it still be in little pieces? What they predict will have changed over this time. And then you get them to go back to the table after 3 minutes and open up the mould and take their ball out, and they will find that it's gone nice and solid, and they then need to let it sit on the table for 5 minutes, and it doesn't matter if it sits for longer than 5 minutes, but it needs to sit for minimum 5 minutes. So we're going to do another experiment while that sits there. We're going to do the next experiment while that sits there. But I have one that I prepared earlier that's been sitting for longer than 5 minutes on the table, and by that stage it's nice and solid. The soapy water has caused the particles, the crystals, to stick and cement together, and it's made a solid ball. And then they can test that on the floor by test the property of bounciness. So they can test how we've taken the sachet of little crystals and turn it into a solid ball, which now has properties similar to the material rubber, and is quite bouncy. And they can test that on the floor for a few minutes, and then we'll move on to the next activity.